So today I want to talk about how you figure out how much storage space do I need. And the way to do this is to ask yourself some questions before you go out and start investigating which self-storage place best suits you. The first question you should ask is, looking at the things you're intending to put into storage, let's see if we can shrink that down. Look at the things and say to yourself, would I miss it? If I didn't have this, would I really miss it? If the answer is no, then chuck it. Then look at the things that are left and say, when's the last time I actually used this stuff? And again, if it's a very long period since you last used it, then give serious consideration to not storing it, but chucking it, giving it to charity, recycling it, gifting it to somebody. And then the third question, maybe I want to keep this because does it have a sentimental value? Or maybe it has a monetary value, or it's a collectible that I'm thinking if I keep this long enough, it's probably actually going to go up in value. When you have identified the things that you're potentially going to store, you have to then ask questions about the nature of that. Is it wine? Is it expensive equipment? Is it valuable paper files? Is it a boat or a vehicle? These are items which need special storage environments. So for example, if it's wine, it's going to be sensitive to temperature. You need a controlled environment. If it's a boat, it's not going to fit into a 10 by 10 storage locker. It's just too tall. It won't get through the door. So if you had valuable papers, it's going to need to be kept dry and away from humidity in order to be stored safely. So is it one of those special items? Then the next thing to do after you've eliminated if it's a special needs situation is the quantity. And it's very useful here to make an inventory of the things that you're going to store. One, so an unfortunate event of an accident or a fire, you actually have, for your insurance purposes, you have some ability to identify precisely what was lost. So you should take and make a list of the main things that you're going to store, or things that are of unusual value. So now that you've identified how much you're going to store, and gotten rid of the excess, and you've identified if it needs special type of storage, and you have a list of the things you're going to store, you're ready to start the process of calling around to self-storage places and looking at the right size unit for the amount of materials that you've got ready to store. The information provided on this chart is pretty standard for most self-storage companies. Although most companies can accommodate what you need by rearranging movable walls. So let's take a look at some pictures of a typical unit. Here is a 5 by 5 square foot unit. It's ideal for small items, boxes of things that can be stacked high, or sports gear. In Vancouver, where I live, people use these kinds of lockers for special mountain bikes to store out of season, or even a kayak. Then we have a 5 by 10 foot unit, and this is typical for a one-bedroom apartment, a small one-bedroom apartment. Or a motorcycle and gear can fit in that. In fact, even 2 motorbikes can fit into a 5 by 10. So the next is a 10 by 10, and this is the most popular size. There will be more of these in a self-storage facility than any other size. And this is for a one-bedroom home. Could be a larger apartment or a very, very small house, like a cottage. Next size is a 10 by 15 foot, and this is for a 2-bedroom, or if you have not too much furniture, even a 3-bedroom house might fit into a 10 by 15, but you'll have to stack it very high. The 10 by 20 size, which is a 3 or 4 bedroom, is the typical size when a family with children is moving homes. And the last one I'm going to mention is a 10 by 30. This is used when you have a 4 or 5 bedroom home with extra furniture, or you have a large family room as well as stuff in the attic. This is also a popular size to be used by businesses, like small contractors or plumbers or electricians. They will typically rent a 10 by 30 size unit. Well, I hope you found that useful. If you want some particular ideas about how to select a self-storage place to compare one facility to another, we have another video on YouTube which is about selecting a self-storage facility. These videos, again, are not just for people renting at self-storage, they're for anybody who is facing the issue of cost-effective use of self-storage. I hope you found that useful, and thank you so much for your time. You can also read articles on our blog site at selfstorall.com, and we have a number of other resources and tips and documents available for people. Feel free to use those, and thank you very much.